Ladies and gentlemen, I now have the great privilege of introducing this evening's commencement speaker, Ernest Rady. Our graduating students, indeed the entire Rady community, know him very well. He's an engaged, visible, and passionate member of our community. Ernest Rady, by any measure, is a classic serial entrepreneur. For example, he's executive chairman of American Assets Trust, a real estate investment trust listed on the New York Stock Exchange. He is chairman of American Assets Investment Management, LLC, which manages a hedge fund focused on blue chip equity. He is chairman of the Insurance Company of the West, which is a privately held multi-line property and casualty insurer. In addition to the above, Ernest has been in ownership and leadership positions in beverage wholesaling, radio telecommunications, oil and gas, professional sports, and much, much more. Everyone knows Ernest Rady loves what he does. In addition to his extensive entrepreneurial activities, Ernest Rady and the Rady family have been committed to community, to impact, and to providing opportunity. The Rady Children's Hospital is among the many passions of Ernest Rady and the Rady Family Foundation. It is impossible to quantify the real compassionate, emotional, and community-embracing impact that Rady Children's has on families, on lives, and indeed on all of San Diego County. And of course, 10 years ago, Ernest Rady and the Rady Family Foundation invested in our startup business school at UC San Diego. It was just a vision, and in fact, it was just a hope at the time that they made that commitment. Ernest did this because of its potential to give back to San Diego and to give back far beyond San Diego. To a great extent, it is because of Ernest Rady's commitment to our school that the Rady School of Management has experienced a decade of unprecedented success. In August 2006, Ernest Rady was the commencement speaker for the very first graduating class of the Rady School. Today, I'm thrilled and honored that he is commencement speaker as the school concludes its 10th anniversary celebrations and launches into the second decade. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to introduce Ernest Rady.
Well, that was a beautiful introduction, Dean Sullivan, and if I had any brains at all, I'd say thank you and sit down. But I'm not noted for that high level of intelligence, so I'm going to try and impart some matter on you folks. First of all, this is the longest time I've ever spoken today without making any dough. But I want you to know I'm going to give it a try, and then you guys out there, when you get out there, you do the same thing. So it is a great honor and pleasure for me to be allowed to address you on this auspicious occasion of your graduation and the school's 10th anniversary. To set the mood, I'd like to start with some management lessons, a few stories which you may find interesting and hopefully entertaining. A crow was sitting on a tree doing nothing all day. A small rabbit saw the crow and asked, "Can I also sit like you and do nothing all day?" The crow answered, "Sure, why not?" So the rabbit sat on the ground below the crow and rested. All of a sudden, a fox appeared, jumped on the rabbit, and ate it. Management lesson learned, and I want you to pay attention to this. To be sitting and doing nothing, you must be sitting very, very high up. Lesson number 2. A turkey was chatting with a bull. "I would love to be able to get to the top of that tree," sighed the turkey, "but I haven't got the energy." "Well, why don't you nibble on some of my droppings?" replied the bull. "They're packed with nutrients." The turkey pecked at a lump of dung and found that it actually gave him enough strength to reach the first branch of the tree. The next day, after eating some more dung, he reached the second branch. Finally, after a fourth night, there he was, proudly perched at the top of the tree. Soon he was promptly spotted by the farmer, who shot the turkey out of the tree. Management lesson learned. Bullshit might get you to the top, but ain't going to keep you there. Lesson number 3. A little bird was flying south for the winter. It was so cold, the bird froze and fell to the ground in a large field. While I was lying there, a cow came by and dropped some dung on it. As the frozen bird lay in the pile of cow dung, it began to realize how warm it was. The dung was actually thawing him out. He lay there all warm and happy, and soon began to sing for joy. A passing cat heard the bird singing and came to investigate. Following the sound, the cat discovered the bird under the pile of cow dung and promptly dug him up and ate him. Management lessons learned. Not everyone who shits on you is your enemy. Not everyone who gets you out of shit is your friend. And when you're in deep shit, keep your mouth shut. Now I'd like to give you some lessons that I've learned during my lifetime. And this is more serious than the other one. But there's situations that I've encountered over the years, and I would like to share them with you because you're going to be part of my heritage, and I'm counting on you for your success. In all seriousness, I congratulate each of you for what must be one of the proudest days of your life. A proud day for the parents, relatives, friends, and spouses. All who has helped you with all your success to date, culminating in this major success today. And is a proud day for the faculty and staff who have worked hard to educate you, who made sacrifices themselves to help you achieve this day. And thank you all. Going forward, you will have an impact on many people. It is not hard to change the lives of people. You will come in contact with many and change many lives. As we celebrate the 10th anniversary of the Rady School of Management, and we look to what's next, the title of the speech. For the schools, it grows and advances in the same way you are celebrating a milestone in your life and looking forward to what's next. As time, circumstance, and your loved ones usher you into the next great phase of your life, I hope that I too can give you a little bit of advice that has served and continues to serve me well, both in business and in my life. I know you have sat through a lot of lectures and worked hard for this day, but if you will permit me, perhaps I can add some advice based on my life experiences. First, start the day with a clear conscience and a record of fair dealing. When I moved to San Diego from Winnipeg 40 years ago, I realized that in Winnipeg, everybody knew who you were and what you were. I knew there was an opportunity in coming to a much larger city and perhaps a much more impersonal environment to act other than ethically and honorably. But I decided at that point I was going to go by the small town standards that I've grown up with. This was a great decision, and it's worked in my favor on a very consistent basis. Opportunities based on trust have been available to me that, had I pursued a different strategy, certainly would not have become available. You'll need help. The second lesson. In your business endeavors, you will need help. Large and small, you will have to present a good strategy, but then you must enlist others to help, and you must listen to them. That ability may be the most critical to your success, because if you only rely on what you can do with your own two hands, you will have limited future. The people you will need to help you will have to be determined and committed as you, and it's your responsibility to get them on board with that commitment. If you are able to trust and rely on others with you, and you in turn motivate them, then you will have a much more productive and successful future. At one point in my career, I had 5,000 people working in the companies that I was responsible for. All those 5,000 people carried out their business plan much better than I could have done. I find good people, I motivate them to have the same values and commitment that I do, and they pass on that to the people who work for them. That has always been a key factor in my success, and it will be for you too. Number 3, sometimes to effect change, you will have to sacrifice your own ego. I've always said that you're working in an environment with other people. It's got to be a we company, not a me company, not an I company. And I've emphasized that during my career. I hope that I've been successful in encouraging people to enjoy the success that we've created together, and I hope that you can do the same in your career. Be a team player for maximum productivity. Number 4, you have to make some extra effort. As my late father used to say, success is 9 parts perspiration and 1 part inspiration. You will set the example for the people you work with. When I first went to work for a law firm in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, there was a partner who was always running down the hallway. I didn't even like being a student in that law firm, but I was caught up with the leadership that he represented and by his energy, and soon I started running up and down the hallway. So you may have to run up and down the hallway. You may have to make that extra effort to set the example. Life is filled with failures, as Pradeep Khosla says. You will have many, so be prepared to learn from them and then move forward. To help the world and yourself, you must perform, no matter how difficult the environment. Even when I experienced difficulties or failures, I had to put on my best face and go forward. At one point, I was the largest stockholder of Wachovia, the fourth largest bank in the country. But in the financial meltdown, I not only lost a very significant portion of my net worth, but due to the disappearance of Wachovia to Wells Fargo. But at the same time, I was sued by my own family, my nieces and nephews. Those were 4 terrible years, not just financially, but also emotionally. And plenty of times I've had the opportunity to say, I've had enough. Or I could instead keep going and try to make a comeback as best I could. I chose the latter, and I'm really glad I did. No matter who you are or what success you've achieved, hard times and even failures will come. The important thing is being able to push through those times, to keep going, and you may even find a new level of success. To help the world and yourself, you must perform no matter how difficult the environments. When I experienced difficulties, I could never show the fear and worry I was dealing with. As a leader, you have to put on your face to the world that shows courage and optimism, and you will have to give people that vision and that strategy. So even if the future is looking bleak to you, you must not look like that to others. You must impart enthusiasm and optimism for the futures. Another point, number 7, be careful in your business associations. There are a lot of unscrupulous people in the world, sharks, crooks, and you will have to deal with them. But you're better off if you learn how to avoid them in the first place. Personally, I've always had a rule that I just don't deal with people I don't trust, and that stood me in good stead over the long run. I will give you a quick example of this. Going back to Winnipeg and the first real estate deal I ever had, there was a real estate agent named Lou. He may not be dead, so I'm not going to give you his last name. If he's not dead, I'm prepared to put a contract on him, but it's probably too late. Who wanted to deal with me. I came to see he was not straightforward at best, so I decided I was not going to do business with him. That was a great decision. Otherwise, I'd still be mired in the mistakes that he would have let me make and led me to make. Eventually, he left Winnipeg and moved on to Toronto to find more lucrative prey. Number 8, find someone to help you through life, a partner and mentors. To help you through life, you're going to have to find a partner. And I've been fortunate to have my wife, Evelyn. Evelyn is different than me. I got up every day and went out to pillage and plunder. Well, she got up every day of her life and went to help others as a social worker. I admired what she did. She ignored what I did. So we've gotten along for 55 years, and she's been my blessed partner in life. You will also need mentors. I've had mentors all my life. But when I was a youngster, I had my father's friends as mentors, a lawyer, a cold storage, not much of a business in Winnipeg, which has the coldest climate, the same as Siberia, and a gentleman who ran a commercial fishing company. 2 summers during college, I worked in the fish factory, shoveling fish. And one summer, I traveled with the lawyer working in his law office. During this time, they taught me a great deal about life and business. These 3 never had a son, so I became their substitute son, to my benefit, and I hope theirs too. When I moved to San Diego, there was a gentleman who was a general in the Marine Corps who had run Sears Canada, General Douglas Peacher. Doug never had children, and my father became ill and passed on early in life. So Doug and I developed a very close relationship, like father and son. We went fishing and socialized, and our relationship was more than just a close friend and mentor. He was family. Doug had been a director and a participant in large companies. He was a director of Allstate, Thomson Newspapers, Sears Canada, and Whirlpool. As the companies I was involved with grew, and when I didn't know what to do, I turned to Doug and asked him, please give me some advice. And he was always helpful in sharing the benefits of experiences. He was also a great inspiration to me and my colleagues as a dedicated friend and businessman. In fact, was he in the hospital on his deathbed, he got out of the hospital and came to a board meeting with a bandage still around his arm. He was a wonderful human being, and I think about him often. General Douglas Peacher. So find people in your life who you can rely on as mentor and as a partner. They will help you, guide you, to keep you steady and on course, and it can be an important factor in your success and happiness. Never give up. You will have so many challenges in your life, and you never want to say, I don't want another challenge. Embrace the challenges with enthusiasm. Find them intellectually and spiritually interesting and uplifting, and you will improve your life and the lives of those around you. Number 10, you need to love what you do to succeed at it. If you haven't found it yet, keep looking until you do. I've always advised that if you don't find something to do that you love, you will not be successful. I've been fortunate in finding what I love to do, and I always say I've never had to go to work a day in my life. I just got up to have more fun, and that continues to this day. What's next? Now you must translate all that you've learned and all your experiences into a life of meaning and productivity, to build a career and a life for yourself and your family, to help make a better world. So, find good people, work with them, motivate them, and let them motivate and teach you. Don't lose sight of your morals and ethics. Remember that failures will happen, but you can and you will push through them and go forward. And most importantly, do what you love to do. If you haven't found it yet, keep looking until you do. I and all of us at the Rady School take pride in the culmination of all your hard work, and we look forward to your future successes and achievements. Your accomplishments are a source and going to be a source of pride to you and your families, and are also the measure of my legacy to this school and your community. So bless you. I wish you every success that you can achieve. Again, I wish you all much happiness, great success, and thank you for this honor and pleasure.